In this country, we consider it a right to control our own reproduction. That means sharing responsibility for birth control. It means quality maternal care and total involvement in the birth experience. It isn't that way in Russia, though, where women have to tough it out against harsh conditions and attitudes. Our Moscow correspondent, Sandy Wolofsky, took this look at what Russian women are up against.
Вот, мальчик. Видишь, какой? Нравится? Черненький, волосики.
Masha has just given birth. This quick glance at her baby is as close to her son as she will get until tomorrow. This is Mikhail. His wife Ludmila had their baby 3 days ago. A glance through a second-story window is as close as he will get to his son for the next 4 to 7 days. This may seem old-schoolish to us, but for Russians, this window-toss mode of communication is accepted practice after giving birth. The former Soviet Union has gone through drastic changes over the past few years. Between cutbacks, layoffs, and inflation, over 90% of the population considers itself living at or below the poverty line. Hardest hit by the changes have been women. They compose 70% of the new unemployed. Women's health care is one example of a system in trouble. Typical prenatal care here does not include sonograms or amniocentesis. Most clinics have only the basic antiquated equipment. Neither doctor nor patient here seem particularly compulsive about regular checkups. This woman is 6.5 months pregnant. It is only her second visit to a doctor.
I think that the less you go to the doctor, the better. So I didn't go.
Birthing is another adventure. Overcrowded hospitals will put up to 12 people in the same room or leave mothers in labor all alone. No family or friends are allowed, just underpaid staff who might come by to check every few hours. Patients' rights and comforts are a secondary issue. After the birth, the mother was completely ignored as nurses tended to the baby.
Biggest and main differences, in my opinion, would be being in the psychosocial area. Support of the mother, someone with her during the laboring process, somebody with her during the birth process, ability to see her baby sooner and more frequently and more on demand. And of course, I'm saying this and seeing it from a Western woman's point of view. I've talked to Russian women about their birthing experience, and they're comfortable with that.
Moscow hospitals suffer from constant shortages. On this day, the newborn is bathed in Vaseline because there's no hot water. When Olga gave birth to Oleg, Moscow was in deep freeze, but the hospital hadn't yet turned on the heat.
It was really cold. The baby was rolled in 6 sheets, and if my mother hadn't brought blankets, I would have died from the cold.
Contraception in Russia is not very widespread. Until recently, there had been sex education in the schools. Even today, it is sporadic. These pregnant women, all in their 20s, are getting basic information about contraceptives for the first time. But the reality is, the #1 method of birth control in Russia is abortion. Tamara Radionova is a gynecologist at City Hospital number 53.
Sometimes we meet people who have had 15, 16 abortions, but it's rare. Usually it's 5, 6, up to about 10.
This is Tamara's hospital. Here women pay 182,000 rubles, or about 52 US dollars, to get a vacuum aspiration abortion. On an average day, they get between 25 to 30 people. Nadia is 29. This is her 5th abortion.
I know all about contraception, but I didn't have a partner for a long time. Then, when he appeared in my life, it just happened. We didn't think about condoms. I hope that I will never need another abortion. Actually, after each time, I hope that.
Despite all risks associated with abortion and contraceptives now being readily available, attitudes still don't seem to be changing. Marina is 19, and this is her first abortion.
No, I won't use conception in the future. I don't like to use all those things. I like it better when it is how it is.
It is in the post-op examination that future use of birth control is encouraged. Unfortunately, in Russia, few men are willing to take their share of the responsibility.
Я как сталкиваюсь, когда с бесплодными парами, мы
I
общаемся.
found that men do not like to use protection. They don't want to put on condoms. Sometimes they even forbid women to use an IUD. Condoms are a problem for our men.
But some things are changing. The McGee Saviors Women's Hospital is the first to offer Russian women birth control classes, prenatal care, and health prevention. They do sex education in the schools and run a gynecology clinic with such novelties as disposable gowns, sterile packed equipment, and Lysol spray for disinfectant. It is also the first place in the city to offer husbands a role in the family pregnancy. While the numbers are still small, more husbands are wanting to participate in their baby's birth. But getting hospitals to permit McGee graduates to do so has been a hassle. So this summer they will open their own remodeled facility.
Our birth house will be the first birth house in Russia to work on a patient-centered, family-centered model of care. So the point is to be supportive of patients throughout the entire process, not just to let the husbands in as though they were going to the circus or to see a show, but to really have them be involved and to encourage the experience of childbirth as a family experience, as a happy experience. So we're going to be letting relatives visit before, during, and after.
Victor had hoped to be present at his son's birth. Instead, he hopes that one day Oleg will have a better view of the action than he did.
When we come back, what it takes to get your financial house in order.